there were multiple systematic efforts to interfere in our election. And that allegation deserves the attention of every American.
They're justifiably scared about the intrusion into our lives and the tinkering with our election process. What is the danger to you? And add to that, is it that the president doesn't only share the urgency, he doesn't share the problem?
Well, he certainly doesn't share the problem because he fundamentally does not believe that anything happened in 2016 because he has tied Russian interference to his own legitimacy. And that's valid for him because there are some questions which do crop up. Robert Mueller made it eminently clear that this attack on the United States, which we saw 3 years ago, is most likely going to happen again. So that being said, the forces in the United States who could do something about it, Department of Homeland Security, national security agencies, state and local law enforcement organizations with some cyber capability, they're left on their own because there is no force of leadership from the president.
Mr. Ambassador, we have been led to believe through reporting, especially a piece in the New York Times, that the last Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Nielsen, was waved away, was told not to mention Russian interference to the President of the United States. You know more about the potential than the rest of us, but we've certainly been led to believe that on top of social media, on top of our elections, they also have a thorough reach into things like our power grids and wheels of our American life that they can turn and control almost by whim.
They have tremendous cyber capabilities, that's right. And you just widen the aperture of other things we need to be worried about in addition to our campaigns and our elections. But I think we have to stop waiting for the administration to do it. In fact, Brian, there's 4 things, very concrete acts that the U.S. Congress could pass. The Deter Act, which ties new sanctions if there's interference. The PAVE Act, which provides for those paper ballots that the president just talked about. The FIRE Act, just introduced a couple weeks ago, which not just allows, but makes all campaigns have to report on foreign activity that they have. And then the Honest Ads Act. So there are 4 acts, FIRE, PAVE, Deter, and Honest Ads Act. They're all drafted. To me, it's just a no-brainer. Those acts need to be passed now before the 2020 election.
Malcolm, give us a consumer's guide. At the end of this broadcast, you and I go home. We're just a guy with a phone. We're scrolling through whatever we scroll through, social media, whatever our favorites are. Tell us how folks with their phone at home at night are affected by the Russian reach into, just take social media. Is it visible to us? Is it invisible to us? What would we notice? What would we not know we're being hit with Russian interference?
Well, it's extremely visible, and the Mueller report itself made clear that Russia's reach into the mindset, really, of the United States public. They reached 129 million voters through their disinformation warfare campaign, which was then amplified by the platform that it was on, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and others. So you don't initially know whether you're reading something that's true or false. For example, Hillary Clinton stumbles and has a brain disorder. That was a piece of propaganda which was fashioned by an American citizen, but then was amplified through this enormous cyber megaphone that the Russians had put in place, Team Trump had put in place, and it became a real story. The biggest problem is, to a certain extent, us, the news media. We are the medium in which false stories grow. And so once the media starts learning to police itself and not jump out, after every rabbit that pops up out of a hole and chases it, then we clear that with third-party organizations or through our own research, and we realize when we are being taken for a ride with real information that may just have a false basis and maybe just a vehicle for the news media to be a megaphone for more distraction.